For our webinar, Microsoft and Salesforce Partnership, learn how you can take advantage of this alliance. We'll be kicking off the webinar in just a few minutes, but first I'd like to go over a couple of items for everyone to know. All participants will be automatically muted, and you'll notice on the right-hand navigation that there is a chat and question feature. Now, if you do have any questions or concerns during the webinar, I am here and happy to help. So please type your message into the question box. We will also be addressing any questions for our presenters at the end of the webinar. However, if we do run out of time and are unable to get to your question, we'll be sure to have someone from our team follow up with you. In addition, we will also be making both the slides and recording from today's webinar available for you to download from our website following today's session. We're excited to have Greg Lewis and John Zaberla here with us today. Greg is our Wave 6 president. He brings more than 20 years of experience in business application consulting and is focused on the optimization of Salesforce applications and expansion of the Salesforce platform. John, he's our Microsoft practice director. He has been active in the Microsoft channel for 15 years. He helps organizations solve their business needs through the implementation of Microsoft enterprise applications. And with that, I'll turn it over to you, John.
Thank you, Elizabeth. And besides being two good-looking, balding guys here, give you a little bit more background on ourselves. So my name is John Zaberla, and really pleased to have the opportunity to talk today a bit about the announcement between Salesforce and Microsoft. Our Microsoft practice here at MTech has done a lot of focus on various enterprise applications, including Dynamics CRP, Dynamics CRM, SharePoint, and a lot of the customization and integrations surrounding those applications, some of which we'll talk about today, obviously, in terms of some of the things we've done between our Microsoft and our Salesforce practice. We've also done other customization integrations between our Microsoft technologies and some of our other MTech offerings here. Greg?
Yeah, thanks a lot, John. So I'm Greg Lewis, president of Wave 6. I've been immersed in the Salesforce.com ecosystem for going on about 5 years now. Prior to that, I actually worked with John Zaberla in our Microsoft practice. I've worked across Oracle, a variety of BI, ERP technologies, CRM, sales and marketing solutions. So I have a pretty broad background. So news like this and combining Microsoft and Salesforce is personally exciting to me as both a Microsoft Salesforce user and a big technology advocate. So with that, we're going to talk a little bit about the agenda today. So we're going to jump in real quick. We're going to give one slide plug on who is MTech and MTech's Wave 6 division. We're talking about what does this partnership really mean? How does it affect the product lines, both the Office 365, but also the relative CRM product lines from both vendors. We're going to talk about current Microsoft and Salesforce integrated solutions available. When's this stuff coming out? What else is out on the market, and what can we expect? And then at the end of the presentation, we're going to talk about what does it really mean to you as a user of these technologies, and how can we all take advantage of the alliance. So real quick about MTech and Wave 6. MTech is a right-sized global provider of technology solutions across a portfolio of applications. We're divided on the delivery side. We have integrated offerings. All these groups work together. We have an agnostic consulting group that works with organizations, both medium and large enterprise organizations, on IT strategy and planning, government software selection, and so forth. We have a package applications group that's highlighted by our partnerships with Microsoft and Oracle. That's where Zaberla and his team reside. We work across all areas of both ERP, CRM, and BI technologies in those groups. My area, near and dear to our heart, is our Salesforce.com division, which is a subsidiary of MTech called Wave 6. We're a subsidiary, but we work, as we are on this webcast, I'd say day in and day out with the other groups at MTech. And then the final other two groups, we have a advanced development and managed services group that focuses a lot on custom application development, mobile development, quality assurance, and the whole software development lifecycle. And then our infrastructure services group focuses on IT service management, data centers, and infrastructure product lines.
Okay, thanks, Greg. So first we're going to talk a bit about what does the partnership mean. And if those of you that are out there have read the press release, or you haven't, obviously some of that we're going to get into today as well, but one of the primary focuses were on the customer and how the customers were put first between the two organizations. Here behind our bullets on this slide, we have the pictures of the two key players from Salesforce and Microsoft, Mark Benioff and Satya Nadella. And you can see them there obviously having a good time smiling, and it's really all about putting those customers first. And really customers win in this. And really what does that mean? It's really going to give an opportunity for a lot of organizations such as yourself to take advantage of those innovative solutions coming out from two of the key players out there. And productivity from a sales automation perspective, marketing service, and really leveraging a lot of what Microsoft has brought to the table in terms of their Office products, SharePoint, and some of the other solutions are going to be out there for all the consumers to really leverage together. And that's going to be really exciting to watch those materialize over the next year. From a Microsoft perspective, one of the key aspects of the partnership is going to be that licensing revenue. So really getting in, getting more Office 365 subscriptions going, Windows devices, so tablets, phones, getting those more into the hands of the Salesforce consumer. So there'll be a lot of increased subscription revenue across both platforms. Greg?
Yeah, John, I think neat thing about this announcement is that both Microsoft and Salesforce recognize that technology portfolios today are really best of breed. You know, our clients have a variety of technologies. Everything's not Microsoft and everything's not Salesforce, as much as in our groups we'd like them to be. But recently, if you're not aware, Microsoft has released Office 365 for the iPad. I was an early Microsoft user of a lot of technologies, and admittedly, probably for the last 6 years, have been other than Office, I've been a heavy Salesforce.com Apple guy, and Office 365 for iPad pulled me right back in. So I think these products are fantastic and great moves on Microsoft's part, new leadership at Microsoft, and then Salesforce, you know, opening up their arms and recognizing the market share that Microsoft does have, I think is awesome. So really happy to see the announcement.
All right, next we're talking a bit about the impact and the effect on Microsoft and the Salesforce CRM product lines. So starting off from a Microsoft Dynamics CRM perspective, this news was met with a lot of questions, resistance almost from a how do we go about this from a positioning perspective. Historically, one of the key differentiators from a Microsoft Dynamics CRM perspective has been the integration with the Microsoft family of products. So with the announcement with Windows devices and the forthcoming integrations over the next year or so, that's a differentiator that's clearly going to go away. So again, from a CRM perspective, they have a recent release that just came out a couple weeks ago called their Spring Wave. They've been innovating, releasing 8 different product upgrades throughout the calendar year, and it's, in my opinion, this announcement is going to really focus more on the more competitive functionality and feature sets between the two products. And as Microsoft has to continue to put and pour money into the R&D behind Microsoft Dynamics CRM, it's really going to make that more of what we're going to go after in terms of that competitive advantage. And on both sides, it's going to be exciting to see the two go neck and neck, compete more on those types of aspects. And really both end products are going to bring to bear that integration capabilities with the Microsoft family.
Yeah, and then as far as the Salesforce One platform, what does this mean for that platform and Salesforce One-based applications? You know, I think extending Salesforce One support for the Windows mobile platform, one of the first products we're going to see here that we'll talk about in a minute, is a huge step for Salesforce in supporting bring your own device strategy. The ability to integrate Salesforce One platform with Office 365 is also key. There's been Outlook integration for years that has lost a little investment with Salesforce, and it's going to be turned up quite a bit here in the immediate future. You know, and there's a lot of between-the-lines items mentioned in the press call that'll be interesting to see how it unfolds. For example, ExactTarget, the recent Salesforce Marketing Cloud acquisition, was built on Azure SQL Services and SQL Server and utilizes Microsoft Workflow. You know, the potential and just getting to think about leveraging Microsoft Workflow with Salesforce Workflow across these platforms are some exciting ideas that I think we're kind of encouraged by Benioff's comments and you know, how Salesforce is going to evaluate Microsoft technologies and how it can fit in with future development opportunities. So.
And then kind of another aspect of that is it going to be the end of Dynamics CRM? And that's something that, again, if you read and do a lot of Googling or Binging in terms of what's been out there after this press release, a lot of the Microsoft Dynamics partners are concerned about is at the end. And I mentioned about the amount of R&D going in and also a lot of the investments in the current year with 8 releases. So again, I really think that the focus is going to be more competitive between the two on the feature functionality, and really the two of them are the leading players in the CRM space. So to me, they're already there. Yes, Salesforce has been the leader, and Microsoft's been the bridesmaid in the past. But I think a lot of people will agree going forward that's something where they're going to be more neck and neck.
Yeah, so John, I'm not so sure about doing any binging, just joking. But, as John said, Salesforce and Microsoft Dynamics CRM are the 2 leaders in the space. The other vendors have fallen way behind on the Gartner quadrant. And so I would say every software selection we're engaged with oftentimes usually includes both those vendors. There's a lot of room in the market. There's a whole lot of room in the market for both players. So I concur with John. Absolutely not the end of Dynamics CRM. There's a lot of room for both players.
All right, next we're going to talk about the solutions that are available now, as well as talk a bit about the press release and some of the facts that were presented. So really what the press release detailed would be the availability of Salesforce One for Windows devices, and they specifically called out Windows Phone 8.1. That's something that they're looking to have some availability in the fall in terms of a preview, with general availability coming next year. Office 365, we talked about that. You can see our diagram here. We have Salesforce One, app nicely displayed there for the Windows device, but then starting to be able to use and leverage Office 365 as a Salesforce user is going to be an exciting time. In terms of some other details surrounding the actual press release, so mentioned the Windows device and the availability, but it's going to really get in and do a lot of that sharing, editing, collaboration, and just better usability from a business process perspective, leveraging the capabilities of your Office suite, your Excels, your Words. Next bullet here, we talk about OneDrive, which essentially is that file drive, if you will, offered by Microsoft out in the cloud, and better using that along with SharePoint online to provide storage options, and we would anticipate some better document management capabilities from either a sales or other business process workflow. Also, Outlook and Salesforce in the past have had some integrations. As a Dynamics partner, that's one historically, and we'll talk more a little later on that, where it's been a big advantage of ours in terms of a tight integration there. So looking ahead into the future, one would expect that some of the same integrations that we've seen in the Dynamics CRM space, we'll start to see with Salesforce and Outlook, which will be, again, a great advantage for those running Outlook and as well as Salesforce. And then one of the newer technologies that have come out from Microsoft in the last year, which is really, in my opinion, a strong advantage of just Microsoft in really any enterprise solution, whether that be CRM, human capital management, ERP, is Power BI, a real powerful tool that leverages Microsoft technologies to better visualize and gain insights and business intelligence into your enterprise data. So getting that out there, which has been a recent add in the Dynamics CRM space and some of the other Microsoft enterprise technologies, now getting that out there for Salesforce will be another thing to look forward to.
So one of the reasons John and I got excited about this announcement is we've been integrating this stuff for years, actually. So here's a couple common integrations that MTech and my Wave 6 division have, some of which we created a few years back, some of which we've been working on very recently, separate from this announcement. But we've actually done quite a bit of Salesforce and SharePoint integration. Got 2 screenshots below. These were, I think, were created about a month before the press release, using the same APIs that are going to be leveraged as part of this integration that's been announced in the press release. We've built an integration not only between SharePoint Online, but SharePoint On-Premise, which is still very prevalent in the marketplace, and Salesforce. So our MTech Wave 6 starter pack there that we utilize to launch projects enables collaboration and document sharing between Salesforce and SharePoint. Also, John and I have, for a number of years, done quite a bit of integration with both Salesforce Sales and Service Cloud, actually, with Microsoft Dynamics EP. A common example is Microsoft GP integrated with Microsoft with Salesforce. That enables everything from customer synchronization, new customer creation, and then the entire quote-to-cash process as well. And then another project that we took on about a year ago is the integration of SQL Server reporting services and analysis services to be able to view that data and that resulting data within the context of an account in Salesforce. So common use case, customers using SQL Server and SSRS as both a data store, multidimensional reporting database. We have created both for clients and in our internal labs project where we can serve up that data within the context of an account. So picture an account manager going in, being able to flip and flop sales by product, sales by customer, and so forth in the context of an account. And then the final one that was one of our favorites, we've done this at a small handful of accounts, but it definitely exists out there. Many of you may be running multiple CRM products per division. The reality is a lot of us have gone through a lot of merger and acquisition in the industry in the last 5 years. And we often come across organizations that in consulting them, one of the things we do is we talk about CRM consolidation services and assessments, where John's group and my group will go out and assess functionality, assess IT roadmap, and help customers make that decision. At the same time, we have had customers where the general sales process and cross-selling is separate. And on those, we've had separate CRM strategies. However, integration of customer information and other business information. We actually have some Microsoft Dynamics CRM and Salesforce Sales Cloud and integrated customers out there. One was actually using CRM and XRM for operations and customer service, and Salesforce on the sales side, and we've integrated those environments. So, a couple other solutions that we had to plug that we've been engaged quite a bit in for a number of years. So now we're going to talk a little bit about what does the partnership mean to you. So you may be an IT professional, you may be a Salesforce admin, you may be a sales and marketing user, someone in contracts or operations. What it means to me personally is, here's my portfolio. We utilize Office 365 for Exchange. I just recently fired up Office 365 on my iPad. I use it every single day. I also use Salesforce One on my iPad. So if we marry those two together, I can do a lot more business on my iPad. So it means a lot of different things to different people. I think the biggest thing is the concept that John and I both share is that applications today are often role-centric. So one of the things we talk about in both practice areas is the notion of not flipping and flopping between applications. So if I'm going in and selling a customer on the concept of Salesforce, the Salesforce One platform to empower their business, everybody that has anything to do with sales and marketing is going to be using Salesforce One and Salesforce One Mobile to view and execute their business. We'll integrate and pull in information from other areas. The fact is today, there's a lot of different applications across the enterprise. Contracts and legal. Oftentimes, contracts and legal utilizes SharePoint as a document management storage, and they have a legacy of existing contracts and documents. We have this comes up all the time. How can we share those and provide visibility to legal contracts that are in SharePoint within Salesforce? So the sales reps that are accessing Salesforce One can see them. Very, very common use case. This partnership's going to help how we do that. I think the next question is, what do I do if I am evaluating solutions? And John, I don't know if you want to take that. We've been engaged in a number of selections together. What's your perspective on if you're going through a CRM selection? What does this announcement mean?
Yeah, so that's something Greg just touched on as well, and that's one of the key things from an MTech Wave 6 perspective that we feel we do a really good job at in getting in there and really looking at potential needs of yours from an agnostic perspective, taking a look and understanding what's your exact need, functionality, and don't really have technology out in front. So let's look at your business needs. Let's look at a way where we can really solve those, whether that be with Microsoft solutions, Salesforce solutions, and really building a seamless solution at the end of the day. So whether it's the legal contract, document management aspect that Greg mentioned, maybe it's a couple different divisions and one's running Salesforce, one's running Dynamics CRM. There should be ways to exchange data if necessary in either one of those examples. So really getting in understanding what the end users need to do. So a partner such as MTech in Wave 6, getting in there and doing that evaluation is something we do well, and that's certainly something you can do if you're evaluating today. If you're a Microsoft shop today and you have a heavy footprint of Office, whether it be old 365 or for that matter on-premise, and you're evaluating CRM solutions and that's a key differentiator for you and you want to take advantage today, you don't want to wait for a year, year and a half for when some of these availabilities may come to the market. Also from a Windows device perspective, well, from that perspective, if you're looking at CRM and that's a big play in your ROI, well, looking at a dynamic CRM offering at least today, while they still have that differentiator, would be something to take a look at. But more importantly, is really looking at it and getting a partner such as MTech to look at that aspect of your need as well as everything else.
Yeah, no, that's a good answer, John. My perspective is that organizations they select CRM applications based on a huge variety of factors. We've done quite a few of these. We do them the way we execute selections. We actually bring in our Microsoft practice and our Salesforce practice, and then John and I, as leadership in these groups, sit on top of those groups normally and ensure they're playing nice and it's agnostic, and the information we provide to the customers on an apples-to-apples basis. My perspective is people make these selections based on a variety of requirements, needs of sales and marketing, IT portfolio. I don't see this announcement drastically resulting in a change in application selections between Dynamics CRM and Salesforce. I think it just relieves customers of options, that these technology vendors are playing nicely, and interoperability is not an issue moving forward. So I think the other thing we need to think about is, do you have to wait a year? So we're going through a Office 365. Should we upgrade to Office 365? Should we do that CRM selection now, or should we wait till some of this stuff is developed by Salesforce and Microsoft? The answer is absolutely not. There's immediate product plans, and I think you should move forward with your Office 365 upgrades. If you're using Salesforce One, you can trust that it's going to play nicer with the Microsoft products. So what can we do to take advantage of the Alliance today? We're getting to the end of our call, so if you've got questions, once again, fire them off to Elizabeth online. What can we do as customers today? We're a combination Microsoft Salesforce customer, Microsoft Salesforce partners. We're thinking about this just like all of you are. So I think Benioff said in his release, the most important thing here isn't about the two companies, Microsoft and Salesforce. It's about we need our customers to know that these organizations are going to work together. We're all out, MTech and Wave 6, Microsoft and Salesforce, we're out to serve you, the customer. And our customers want to work with a hybrid of applications ranging from the Dynamics products to Office 365, Excel, Outlook, and Salesforce. And the barriers to doing so are down now, and we're going to be able to do that. So, assess your CRM, desktop, mobile, and cloud strategies just as you always would. There's a little better interoperability between Salesforce and the Windows mobile platform and the Office products here coming shortly, so you can adjust your strategies accordingly. Integrate what's best of breed for you. Like I said, organizations have a long history in their IT portfolio. You may be a very, very heavily Microsoft-focused organization who wants to run Salesforce, or a Microsoft organization who really gets the benefit of running all things Microsoft. Work with organizations like us and select something that's best of breed for you. And don't let interoperability stop you.
And something to kind of add to that, and we've talked a bit about what's coming out there now, and yeah, Dynamics CRM has some of that today and all of that. The reality is a lot of times you're going to get in there, your different use cases, your business needs are not going to align with what's coming out of the box. So we talked about some of the things when Greg was going through some of the offerings of solutions we've built before. Well, the reasons those have come about is not everything you want to do is going to be met by plug and play. So in terms of integrating best-of-breed Salesforce, Microsoft solutions, and really engaging a Wave 6 and MTech partner, what that means is really taking a look at the overall landscape of everything you own, everything you're looking to accomplish, and then working and looking for the right partner to really meet your needs first, and not just, again, plug and play and putting what's out there. So Greg talked about some of the SharePoint and the Salesforce offerings that we've worked on in the past, and it's those types of examples that those went a bit above and beyond what one would expect you're going to get from this announcement. And we've done some of that as well in the Dynamics CRM space, where we may have some of those offerings today, but a lot of times those also fall short. So we need to take that, advance that, and do a little bit more, whether it be from the document management perspective or more from the business intelligence side, leveraging an Excel or a Power BI or a Microsoft SQL reporting services. So key there is really, yes, integrating it, but working with a partner so that, number 3 here on that slide, where you can really achieve that increased productivity. It's not going to be accomplished just by slapping in some technology. So just wanted to add that in there, Greg.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I'd say focus on your end users and how they can be productive. It's going to differ organization to organization. So John and I are excited about these announcements. We're excited to see what's right around the corner with both these vendors, and all of you should as well. So with that, thank everybody for dialing in. I'm going to turn it over to Elizabeth for Q&A now.
Thanks, Greg and John. And actually, judging from the handful of questions we've received so far, it appears that many of you guys are just as interested. Before we get into the questions, as a reminder, please feel free to enter your question in the right-hand navigation chat and question feature box. However, if we do run out of time and are unable to get to your question, we will be sure to have someone from our team follow up with you. So, gentlemen, one of the questions that came in was, what does this mean for on-premise versus cloud implementation?
Greg, I could start on that one. In terms of cloud, obviously this is all right now about cloud. It's about Salesforce, about O365 in terms of an announcement. Earlier we talked a few different examples. Greg had mentioned SharePoint on-premise and some of the things we've done. So some of you out there in organizations are going to be running Office in the office, if you will. You're not going to necessarily be looking to do O365, and you're going to continue to leverage what you've done in terms of Excel and Outlook and SharePoint on-premise. So that's another example of where MTech and Wave 6 can work with you. And as I mentioned, in terms of out of the box, as far as we know right now, that's not forthcoming. So those are things we can help to partner with and make happen. Dynamics CRM still remains a solution that can be either on-premise or cloud, depending on your needs. So that would be another angle as part of that agnostic CRM selection and looking at your needs and really finding out what would make most sense for you. So certainly, again, looking at those different options, and whether it be on-premise or cloud or what have you, MTech, again, in Wave 6 is a good partner to help you make that happen.
Okay, thanks, Dave. Another question we have is, what does this partnership mean to MTech and Wave 6 as a partner of Microsoft and Salesforce?
Yeah, I can take that one, Elizabeth. Yeah, like we said, our Wave 6 group focuses exclusively on Salesforce, optimizing applications on the platform and extending applications on the platform. For us, this announcement provides some really exciting options for us to develop some innovative solutions. There's going to be a lot of cool out-of-the-box stuff coming here, but start thinking about all the stuff you can develop specific for your different business functions based on that out-of-the-box stuff. We've been doing it for years across Microsoft and Salesforce, and are looking forward to capitalizing on new APIs, new integration points that are going to be released. For example, Office 365 PowerPoint presentation generators based on opportunities. Hybrid Salesforce 1 and Windows mobile applications that can combine delivered Salesforce 1 application functionality with custom functionality on Windows devices. John, you have any other thoughts on that one?
Yeah, so I mean, from a Microsoft perspective and back to the CRM product, clearly we got to look at some of our strategic differentiators differently as that integration is going to come to the market and be on equal footing, one would presume. Me personally, starting a career off in more of the accounting finance space and some of what I've been seeing with Power BI and analytics and really getting into the numbers behind a lot of what's going on, whether it be from sales productivity or marketing automation and really evaluating your campaigns and some of the decisions that go on based upon the effectiveness, profitability, et cetera. So I think using a lot of those tools, personally, I like to really see a lot more come out of that, and really a lot of the engagements that we'll look to do. I'm looking forward to that, and we mentioned a few times already on the SharePoint side. I think that's something from a Microsoft partner perspective we're really looking to leverage and see a lot more come out of that side. So a couple of exciting opportunities to be working more closely with Greg and his team like we've done in the past, so I'm just really looking forward to some of those projects.
Okay, it looks like we have another question that came in. Gentlemen, what does this mean for mobile applications?
Yeah, I can take that one, Elizabeth. Yeah, so the Salesforce 1 platform, phenomenal platform as a service. We've done some really cool stuff building Salesforce 1-based applications with custom user interfaces and Visual Force for iPads and a variety of devices. So The ability to do that on the Windows mobile platform, obviously key. The same code line that we can deploy on the Android and iPhone platforms, we can deploy now on the Windows platform. The other reality is there's a lot of mobile development that we're involved in the market that we all know we see that's often a combination of solutions, a combination of architectures, obviously a combination of devices, and definitely a combination of back-end sources of data. So the possibilities to leverage the Salesforce One platform with the Windows mobile devices and platform and other Microsoft technologies just opens up the doors and really gets us thinking about stuff. So very excited about what this means for mobile.
All right, John, it looks like this is for you. So how does this impact a small-sized organization?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, clearly some of the Microsoft Dynamics products have been focused in that space in the past. Not so much anymore, really looking more upmarket enterprise organizations. But in terms of the impact on some of the smaller organizations, the announcement really didn't get into specifics between small, large, or size organizations. We would anticipate that the licensing would be available to get a handful of users for either Salesforce, or I should say Salesforce and O365, and really get that up and running. So that's something we're going to have to keep an eye on as they start to release more details in terms of the licensing model and how that will support different size organizations.
Greg, I'm going to direct this question to you. The question is that they acknowledge that the specifics may not have been released, but could you please give a real-life scenario, an example of what a Salesforce Office 365 integration may look like, and kind of looking to understand how your sales and their sales professionals can take advantage of such an integration on maybe a daily basis?
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple of use cases. One is oftentimes contract generation, proposal generation, documents related to the account or the sales process. What we're envisioning on the Office 365 integration is the ability to work with that Office content, both from within Salesforce, and then also to take Salesforce content and send that out into the other Office products. There's a variety of third-party products on the market that we've all used to do this, but having core offerings and aligning the APIs on both sides. So real use case example, a couple right now. So talking about the Office products would be in proposal generation. So let's say the sales rep has a template proposal. Rather than using a lot of third-party products, we would create that proposal directly within the Office 365 cloud environment. And then the rep could tailor and update that proposal and then send that back to Salesforce as an attachment. Another one is the use of OneDrive and SharePoint Online. So obviously, Salesforce proponents use Chatter quite a bit for document storage and management. The reality is a lot of people use SharePoint. So being able to use the functionality of SharePoint, a real-life case example isn't necessarily that the sales team dumps all their documents out of Chatter into SharePoint now. That's not the idea. The idea is that there are other people that are using SharePoint online. So picture other groups. I use the example of legal and contracts. So other groups that have documents, operations, say that has data that's stored in Excel spreadsheets and Word documents, PowerPoint presentations stored on OneDrive and SharePoint Online, being able to integrate that at the account level for a rep on the road working on their mobile device.
Finance, you may have invoice information going back to Salesforce, but perhaps the actual copies of the invoices, perhaps aging reports and other metrics that, yes, you can run and you can get reporting that can do some of that for you, but sometimes having the actual source documents that perhaps have been sent out to your end client, and you want to know precisely what they saw, not just a report digesting the data. So similarly, like Greg described from the legal perspective, those other groups that likely have licensing perhaps into their SharePoint environment to do a lot of that collaboration, but then taking those and exposing those into Salesforce would be key.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, we'll give it another 2 seconds if anyone would like to send in their questions. Okay, guys, thank you. This concludes our webinar today. As a reminder, we will be making both the slides and recording from today's webinar available for you to access off of our website. In addition, within the next couple of days, John and Greg are going to be sitting down with our Senior Director of Marketing, Dina Evers, to get a little bit more insight around this type of partnership. So look for that on our blog within the next few days. We appreciate your time and we hope you have a great day.